Hi everyone, I'm Joni Adler. I'm an educational consultant and former secondary school teacher. And I just wanted to offer some free advice and support for parents who are currently homeschooling in this somewhat surreal experience of coronavirus. So I have got three children of varying ages. I've got my eldest is Harrison, who's 6.5 in year 2. I've got Tamsin, who's just turned 5 in reception, and I've got a baby who is 1 called Leo. So I am juggling 3 different ages, home educating, and it's hard. It's really hard. So I wanted to give some advice because I have been a teacher for quite a long time. I've been a tutor, and I've now started my own business as an educational consultant. So one of the top tips I would have for homeschooling your child is preparation on your part to begin with. Have a plan each day that you are homeschooling. Have your worksheets, your spellings, your reading, your writing, all planned out, all photocopied, ready for you to start in the morning. But before I go into that, actually, the setting for where you want to be teaching. Try and keep it separate to where you eat. So you might have a dining room table and that's where you've chosen to set up your home school, as it were, for the foreseeable. Try not to have it on the same place settings where you have your meals, just so that the kids have got a very different focus. This is where I eat and this is where I'm educated. This is where the academic stuff happens. So that's kind of good to focus them, to motivate them and to get them into the mind frame that you want them to be in. So assign a school seating plan as you would. In our house, we have a long rectangular dining table, and one side of it is used for eating and the other side is used for Adler Academy. And if I ever found a school, it will be called Adler Academy. So watch this space, people. Another thing that I like to have ready are snacks and water. So I have 2 bottles of water ready for Harrison and Tamsin on the table at all times. So they can't say, "Oh, Mum, I'm thirsty, I'm going to go and get a drink," and leave the table. You can't, it's there. And I'll have snacks ready as well. So healthy stuff, not biscuits or chocolate, but crudités or, healthy apple, pear, whatever, pre-cut, so that when it's snack time, when they're hungry, they can go and get something healthy and it's not going to interfere with their blood sugar levels too much. So yeah, that's all ready. So that all falls under what I would call preparation. So have all of your worksheets and things that you want to get through ready, photocopied. Be realistic with what the amount of reading you want them to be doing, obviously depending on the level they're at and how much they can get through and how much you can tolerate. Have it all ready there. So that leads me on to my next top tip, which would be patience. Now, as parents, carers, we need an abundance of patience at this time. It's hard work. We need to be in the zone and they need to be in the zone too. One thing to remember in all of this homeschooling stuff is when you're essentially tutoring them. When you tutor, it's a 1-on-1 ratio, generally. It's very intense for you and for them, hence why stress levels for parents and kids can potentially get quite high. You can get a bit of friction building up. So if you're not getting through hours and hours of studying like you might want to, don't worry, because the intensity of it means they are actually absorbing more. They're not in a 30-to-1 ratio, which is a normal classroom. In a classroom setting, the teacher will set a task, they'll be set on tables, and they will have a bit more breathing space. It's less intense, the environment. Other children will be raising their hand to answer questions, so they get to absorb other people's information and answers, and it's not all on them all the time. So cut them a bit of slack for that. They're doing what they can, little ones, and so are you. Short bursts are key here. They're not going to be able to sit down for perhaps not even 40 minutes. It will be quite short, and then they'll need to stand up and do something, go to the loo, whatever. Don't worry about that. If they need to go to the toilet, fine. Have a quick loo break. they need to keep moving. They're small. They need to burn off energy. I know that all too well. Go by them. Listen to them. If they are saying that they're really tired or they really don't want to do an activity, don't push it too much. You want them to stay motivated and interested and listening to you. So go by them, listen to them. I think that's going to be a key thing relationship-wise when we come out the other side of this epidemic, is the different relationships, sorry, just adjusting Cam, the different relationship that we're going to have formed with our children. And hopefully if we do listen and listen well, it will be a really positive thing that we can take from this. My next pointer I've got here, realistic expectations. Do what you can. We're not all teachers. We don't all have hours and hours to sit with our children and help homeschool them. We have jobs and other things that we need to do, other children to take care of. Just be realistic. If you're not able to do too much, don't worry either. The kids will catch up when school resumes. They are like sponges. They will soak it all up and get to where they need to be eventually. That will be the job of your school and your teachers and the professionals, professional teachers, I mean by that, when they start school again. So please don't put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Do what you can to your ability without stressing yourself out unnecessarily. In Finland, and I mention Finland because I'm half Finnish, they don't start school until they're 7, and they have one of the best they have the best primary schools in the world. And I reckon part of that is to do that they start later. They're still at nurseries and with childcare, under childcare, but they start at 7. Here they start at 3 at preschool. So that's a lot of time that they have to just play and explore the world on their own through whatever means and with whoever. And I think that's something that we need to remember. Let's let them be kids. Let them go and climb trees and ride their scooters and pick up leaves and rocks without us saying, oh, it's dirty. Let them be kids, as well as giving them a little bit of education. Remember, some families are doing nothing. Some families are letting them just be kids and enjoying the family time. That doesn't work for everybody. Not everyone is able to do that or wants to do that, or people need structure. But just bear that in mind, so don't stress unnecessarily. Some parents are not doing anything at all. Motivation. How to keep up motivation. Well, that all depends on your child, and you know your child best. What I do each night is myself or my husband put them to bed, I will ask them what is something that they really want to do the next day. So it could be an activity, it could be going on a scooter ride, it could be baking, it could be, where's my list of things, climbing trees, a picnic in the garden, building a den, something fun with you, playing games, playing their favourite game, frustration, boggle, memory, whatever it might be. Ask them what they would like to do and use that as a motivational tool the next day. They might be not wanting to do their written work or read this chapter of this book. So, well, when we do finish it, when you do get there, we can go and build that den, or we can go on that scooter ride that we talked about last night. And these can be things that they have put in place themselves as motivational tools that you can use and try to do them. All very well talking about it, but you actually need to do it as well. One thing, when I asked for research purposes what people are finding hard, one lady came back to me saying keeping siblings occupied. This is definitely something I can relate to. When my youngest Leo is awake, it is impossible for me to homeschool my other two. So my window of opportunity to teach them is usually in the morning from 9 till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. That's all I get. That's when my youngest has his morning sleep, and I let him sleep as long as he wants. I don't wake him up anymore because I've got no school run to do, so it's quite nice in that respect. And that is when I get my kind of concentrated time to teach my elder two. So my year 2 son, Harrison, who's 6.5, and my reception age daughter, who's just turned 5. So I cram in what I can with necessary breaks and moving around the room, maybe do a bit of Joe Wicks some mornings as well. Yeah, that's all I get through. And when I do have all 3 of them awake, I do what I can. I can set activities, but they're also quite reliant and dependent on me, especially the littlest one, who's a relatively new walker, who's now marching around and playing football with Harrison when he can. But yeah, keeping siblings occupied is one of the hardest things. Remember, in a school environment, if they were at school, no teacher on this planet would have a 6.5-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old in one class trying to teach them all. It wouldn't happen. It's not possible. You're doing what you can do. I'm doing what I can do with my age range. So don't stress about that. Do what you can do. And my final words to you, I hope that this has been helpful for somebody. I will keep posting when I get more feedback from people to say what they're struggling with. I just pulled on a couple of comments that I got today, and I hope that this helps. And you're all doing amazingly, so well done, keep it up. And if you have any questions, please do write in the comments section or directly message me. Good night, everybody. Happy Monday tomorrow, and I hope some of these tips are helpful. Bye bye.